question becomes, what are the opportunities that we have to do the most good? So I'll ask it to you this way. I said that the meals are really cheap, right? They're 15 cents for nutritious food. But the food has to get paid for. There's only 3 ways the food can get paid for. I've talked to people all kinds of times. Yep, as you're filling up this jar, right? Every time you bring in $1, 6 people get to eat. You bring in $10, 66 people get to eat. That's power. But here's the cool thing. In order to get the money to pay for the ingredients, it can only come one of 3 ways. If you guys come up with another way, teach me. I'd love to know. But you can either share some of what you have. You just go into your piggy bank and go, I've got some, I'm going to share some. Or you can go out and earn it. Right? You can rake leaves, you can walk dogs, you can tell other people about it, say, I'm trying to raise some money. And you'll make some money, and that's a good way too. But students don't have high-paying jobs, do you? No, your job is to be a student. That's your job. Adults have jobs that make higher paid money. So the most powerful way that you have is to change what you spend your money on in the next 7 weeks. Here's what I mean. Let's say that the next time tonight, you go to Subway. Don't go to Subway and do this. Some people see those pictures and they go, I'm not going to eat, because they just feel too bad. There's no power in that. Go, eat. You got to eat so you can be healthy, so you can get your need for belonging met, right? But what if you said this, I'm not going to eat the chips. I'm not going to get the soda. I'm just going to eat the sandwich. And then you ask your mom or your grandma or your hockey coach or whoever took you to Subway, you go, you know what we're doing at Highlands? For every $1 we bring in, 6 people just like me get to have a life-saving meal. If I don't get the chips in the pot, would you be willing to give me that money to bring them? What do you suppose they would say?
Yes.
They'd say, what's going on in that school, right? They'd be like, wow! What does it say about you if you're willing to do something for someone else? And that's where the power of this gets really strong. If you make that choice and 6 people get to eat, and you make that choice, and you make that choice, and you make that choice, and together we all make that choice, we're going to feed thousands and thousands and thousands of people. You can still go out and earn it. That's a good way. Go rake some leaves. Go ask your parents, can I do some chores around the house to do that? Share some of what you have. But we're only going to raise about this much money doing it. The power is going to come when we change our choices. How many of you have ever been to the dollar section?
Oh.
Yep. Look around the room. All of us. Put your hand down. Here's what I'm challenging you to do. Next time you go, I'm not asking you to say, I don't want it. Whatever that cool thing is, let's call it a widget. Okay? Whatever that widget is that's there that you really want, I want you to go up, pick it up, and go to the adult who brought you there and say, I really want this. But what I learned at Highlands is that if I put it down and make a different choice, would you be willing to give me the $1 and I could bring it in and put it in the jar? And 6 people. That's a person just like you for a whole week. 6 meals. Because most of these kids are eating 1 meal a day. Could have life-saving food. Then the choice gets pretty easy, right? Because if that's who you want to be, you realize the power. If you go, oh, it's only $1. My son said it to me one time. We went to Target and he said, well, come on, Dad, it's only $1. If you believe that it's only $1, that's true. If you believe that $1 can feed 6 people, that's power. You see that? Does that make sense? So let me show you really quick. These basic needs for love, freedom, power, belonging. Sometimes we might call this mastery, when you get really good at something. This you might call autonomy, the ability to make decisions about your own life. This is a young girl who is working all day, the same amount of time that you're at school, in order that she can make money in order to be able to eat. That's not okay. When we bring in $1, she doesn't have to make that choice anymore. She gets to go to school instead. This boy is not in jail. This is the way his boss keeps him until he makes enough of his quota. He has to make, I forget what it was, like 1,300 some other little pieces that go onto a car. When he makes his 1,300 pieces, they unlock him and they let him go home. When you bring in food, he doesn't have to do that. The other thing that's interesting is that he does no longer live with his family. You know where he lives? He lives 103 kilometers away from his family, because that's the closest place that they can find work. So when you bring in $1 or $2 or whatever it is, every time we feed him, he gets to get his need for belonging met and live with his family. He gets tucked in at night. He gets to be there for birthdays and celebrate their traditions. That is power. It's way more than putting ingredients in a bag or feeding people's stomachs. These are real stories. Okay? Lots of examples of that all over the world. So, thinking about those basic needs for love, belonging, freedom, power, and fun. Lots of different ways to do that. This is my favorite picture. How many of you ever played in a cardboard box? Even the box itself is meeting a basic need. People get in the box, the next thing you know, they're having some fun. We put a little string through there, like this, and then we're making it into a sled. Next thing you know, I'm in the box. A bunch of kids are trying to pull on it. All these kids speak Creole and French and Spanish, and I don't speak any of those languages. And we were having this beautiful moment, getting all of our needs met for belonging, freedom, fun, and power, and having a meal together. That's amazing. We can't even communicate. But we could because people like you chose to do something other than have a bag of chips or go to the dollar section. Isn't that amazing? Absolutely amazing. Right now, there are scientists at major universities who are trying to grow seeds in the desert that don't require water. Thousands and thousands of dollars on research. I'm not against research. I hope they come up with that. But if any of you are in first grade science at Highlands, what are the 3 things a plant needs to grow? Water, sun, and soil. So we've kind of got that one figured out. We don't need to wait until experts solve this problem of world hunger. We can do something about it right now. Okay? So, here's the deal. This is coming up in only a few weeks. Over Thanksgiving break, you've got an opportunity to go out and earn it. You've got a chance to educate others about it. Blog about it. Put it on your Facebook page. Tell other people what your school's doing. Educate them. Tell them 1 out of 6 people are hungry. And would you be willing to help donate some money so we could do something about it? Some of your relatives, they'll be like, wow, I didn't know that you were advocating. I didn't know that you knew such a thing. So, whether you go to Starbucks the next time, I'm not telling you not to go. What I am saying is, what if you made a couple of choices? Let's say you go and you get hot cocoa. Hot chocolate at Starbucks is anywhere between $2.80 and $3.20, depending upon the size you get. That would feed almost 23 people. One choice to say, Mom, I want the cocoa, but is there any way I could just get water today? Because if I do, would you give me the money? Because it doesn't matter, right? If you just say, I'm not going to do it, nothing happens. You have to actually bring in that money and put it in the jar in order for it to happen. Because if this was me, this was my Monday, then it was Tuesday, next thing you know it was Wednesday, and I got into a habit of just going. Now I still go, but I don't go every day. And when I drive by, I reach into my wallet and I take out that money and I put it into the little Starbucks card, which is my bank, right in the console of my car. Maybe you eat food like this. This food costs about $4. It's actually not very nutritious, but if you went, what if you said, hey, I'm just going to get the sandwich today. That's going to feed about 6 to 8 people, and that's going to feed somewhere between 7 and 9. Here's the chips. You're going through that Subway thing, right? Or you're at Brugger's. How much do the chips cost? Can you read it?
15 cents.
75 cents.
This is 75. How many 15s in 75?
3.
Show me with your fingers.
3.
15, 30, 45, 60,
6.
75. There's 5. 5. You just choose not to get the chips and you fed 5 people or someone like you for a week at their school. Can you imagine if, I mean, that's the part to me that's just amazing. We wake up every morning thinking, oh, what can I do? I'm in 4th grade, you can do a lot if you want to, okay? There is no right amount of money to bring in. Some of you are going to bring in a whole bunch, some of you are going to bring in very little. Nobody should come up and put the money in the jar and say, this is how much I did. As a matter of fact, I'm challenging you to do this. Do it when no one's looking. Just come up, put it in,